I'm Flynn Ballantyne, president of Ballantyne Gear. We'd like to show you a gable-to-gable installation of the eVook fall protection system. The installation is similar to the two-person installation of an eVook system with ladders. We will focus on the differences. Follow instructions from the Ballantyne Gear eVook technical manual. To start, on both sides of the gable, we are using a stabilizer that is against the side of the house that will keep the ladder secure, with the ladder rails just touching the roof edge on each side of the gable. On both sides of the house, an eVook will be attached to a Camp Giant for tensioning the anchor line. On the first side of the house, the setup is similar to the original two-person installation, with an exception that the rope needs to be about 25 feet longer. The rope is not connected to the eVook, and the eVook is attached to a Giant. First installer lays down a Camp Goblin with carabiner between the rope and the ladder and then pulls out about 20 feet of rope, roughly forearm lengths, from the bottom of the stack. Installer will then attach the rope to the Giant, such that the Giant can anchor the side of the rope that will go over the house and become the anchor line. About 8 feet from the eVook, to create a mechanical advantage for tensioning the system, the installer attaches the Goblin fall arrestor to the anchor line and then runs the rope coming from the other side of the Giant through the carabiner that attaches to the Goblin. First installer launches the line across the roof just from the right side of the ridge so that it crosses the ridge and lands just to his left side of the ridge on the opposite side. After first installer detaches the throw line from the ladder, second installer on the opposite side pulls the line and then the rope until the rope is lightly tensioned to the first eVook. First installer will assist as needed with the rope going over the roof. Once the second installer removes the slack from the line, he will ensure the line remains tensioned until the installation is complete. From the ground, first installer lifts the eVook and hangs it with wheels facing the wall. Installer climbs the ladder until he is just below the roof edge, and then, reaching through the ladder and around the ladder to maintain 3 points of contact, pulls the rope up, raising the eVook, being careful not to allow the eVook body to strike the house. He will continue to raise the eVook until the Goblin is just below the roof edge. To keep the ropes and gear orderly when they go on the roof, installer straightens the Goblin so the top is away from the roof and ensures that the ropes are hanging straight down and are not twisted. First installer attaches the eVook just to the right side of the ridge. Once securely attached to the edge of the roof, first installer shall let the second installer know, possibly by yelling, using a radio, or other means. First installer places 3-inch Gorilla Tape on the roof edge below the eVook to protect the roof when the system is dismantled. Second installer attaches the rope that is below his Goblin to the Giant that is on the eVook. Raises the eVook and then suspends it a few inches above the ground. Installer climbs the ladder with the loose end of the rope sliding through his hand until he reaches the roof edge. Reaching around the ladder rail, he then raises the loose rope to lift the eVook until the Giant is just below the roof edge. Second installer then locks the tension on the Giant and ties a mule overhand knot above it. The mule loop needs to be at least 2 feet long so a worker can reach the loop from the ladder. The distance from the ladder to the mule knot is greater with the gable-to-gable installation than when an eVook is installed to a roof edge that is not sloped. For this next step, the first and second installers must be able to communicate clearly in real time to each other. Second installer will communicate to first that he is going to attach his eVook to the roof edge. Upon confirmation from the first installer, second installer will slowly lift the eVook and attach it to the roof edge, while first installer rapidly pulls the mechanically advantaged rope to full tension, 1 kilonewton or about the full strength of an average man. First installer should now have completed his installation responsibilities. Second installer places 3-inch Gorilla Tape on the roof edge below the second side eVook, and then using the fully tensioned anchor line for fall protection, second installer will climb on the roof put a prusik in the middle of the anchor line, retension and lock the first side giant, and tie a mule overhand knot with mule loop that is at least 2 feet long. The system is now ready for work.